Hey you guys, good morning. Hope you slept well, or afternoon or evening, depending on when you're watching this. So it's Wednesday. Welcome to Mr. Smith's Kitchen. I'm Brian. If you're new to the channel, hey, great, I am so glad to have you. If you're not new to the channel, welcome back. As you know, on Tuesdays, talk about anything you want to talk about or anything I see in the news or anything that's just bugging me a little. Wednesdays, we cook dinner. Thursdays, we bake, we can, we do something in the kitchen, but we're almost always in the kitchen. We also do other things, some gardening, some woodworking, just depending, but mostly cooking, baking, and just good conversation. So if you like good conversation, want to discuss things, you're at the right place. And before I forget to say it at the end, don't forget to hit that notification button and subscribe. But today, we're going to make a meal. I'm actually starting in the morning. It's like a little after 9 in the morning, and this meal takes forever. But luckily, it doesn't take long to make. It just takes forever to cook because we're going to do it in a slow cooker. It is an Italian, creamy Italian chicken. It's quite good. It's been a staple in our house for quite some time now, and you can't really beat it. On its face value, it has 4 ingredients. All right, and we're going to go over the ingredients list right now. You don't need a measuring cup. You don't need a scale. You know, I preach scale, especially with baking. But it really only 4 ingredients, and they're super simple. Matter of fact, I got to get one of them out. That's how simple it is. Look at that. I just got one of them out. So the first ingredient you need, and probably the most important because it gives it a good portion of its flavor, is an Italian seasoning pack. So you can buy these at pretty much any grocery store. I've never seen any other company make them other than Good Seasons, but I'm sure they're out there. Or if you have your own dried Italian seasoning, you can definitely use those. And it just a ton of flavor packed in a little package. Never actually thought about making my own seasonings, but I know next week, not to get ahead of myself, but we're going to do an episode, probably instead of baking, we're going to do spice mixes. So that way you can make your own spice mixes. And I'll show you how to do that. We'll do tacos, fajitas, some ranch seasoning. Maybe we'll try an Italian seasoning too. Couldn't hurt. So anyhow, first ingredient, 1 pack of Italian seasoning, dried Italian seasoning. Next ingredient, 1 8-ounce block of cream cheese. Now, it doesn't have to necessarily be Philadelphia. It can be whatever brand your store carries. I just happen to like Philadelphia cream cheese. Well, I mean all of us. And the fourth and last necessary ingredient is a can of cream of chicken. Any brand will do. Doesn't necessarily have to be Campbell's. That's just what we buy. Occasionally we buy the Walmart brand or the Kroger brand or whatever grocery store you have. Whatever works for you. All right. And then the last ingredient, that's 3, right? I said 4, is chicken. You cannot have a creamy Italian chicken in a crock pot without chicken. So that's the 4 ingredients that the basic recipe has. Now, here's what I have added to it since. Because we wanted to. I have cut up a carrot into good-sized chunks, a medium-sized onion, and on the back side, just a stalk of celery, which we're going to throw in there also. So here's how incredibly easy this is. Let me get the camera moved, and then so that way you can see the crock pot. And I'll show you what we got to do. All right? Give me just 1 millisecond so I can move my camera. All right? Okay. Got the camera moved, and we're in good shape. Tools you will need for this dish aren't many. You will need a crock pot. You will need something to stir it with. That is pretty much it. Now, if you're putting vegetables in it, you'll need a knife and a cutting board so you can cut your vegetables. You don't have to cut your chicken up. Nothing at this point. You may not have to cut it up at all, as a matter of fact. So, all we literally have to do to make this dish. Let me get my veggies out of the way for a second. And hey, honey, hold on for me 1 second. Sorry about that. So Abby needed some assistance. Okay, so we're gonna grab our crock pot. We're gonna open up our cream cheese, which I probably should have done off camera, but that's all right. So this meal literally takes about 10 minutes to put together, especially if you're just using the 4 basics and not adding anything to it. But as far as adding things goes, put stuff in it you like. What I'll probably do is near like the last hour or so, I may throw some potatoes in this. It's hard to say. Yeah, but we'll get this open. Maybe cream cheese is funny. None of this has to be room temperature. Your cream cheese, if you keep it in the freezer, great. You can throw it in here frozen. Chicken, you can throw it in here frozen. Doesn't have to be thawed. Let me get a pair of scissors so I don't make a mess of this. All right, scissors we have. Dun dun dun. So we'll open up our cream cheese here right quick. Tell you, this meal is really, like I said, other than the fact that it takes forever in a crock pot, it really is a good meal. Now, I told you the 4 basic ingredients, right? The cream cheese, the cream of chicken, and the seasoning pack and the chicken. So one thing I don't think I just mentioned, I'm going to put vegetables in it, of course, which I did mention, but I'm also going to put some vegetable broth in this. Now, you don't have to put any broth in it. As a matter of fact, I think the original recipe, which I didn't write down, which I did get the original recipe off of YouTube, but I don't remember the person's name that I got it off of. It was one of the first dishes that I ever made off of another YouTuber, and it was it was years ago, so I don't really remember. But this dish is just really that good that we just kept making it. And since it only had 4 ingredients, when I learned it, I didn't really change anything to that. I didn't change anything to it till later. It was so simple to remember, I didn't even write it down, which I know what you're saying. Brian, that's crazy. You write everything down. You're right. And you should. This just happens to be one of those recipes that I never did. All right, and oddly enough, I didn't find that out till this morning because I've never had a need to, write it down. But I was looking for it so I could show you guys. Just write them down. Then I'll put my seasoning in here. Now, at this point right here, you would just put your chicken in and put the lid on it and turn it on. But we got our cream of chicken, our cream cheese in there. I'm going to add about 1/2 to 2/3 of this bit of veggie stock. And we'll talk about what I'm going to do with the veggie stock after I get done with that. Then I'm going to take my whisk, and we're just going to kind of mush this up a little since my cream cheese is not frozen. As a matter of fact, we just bought it at the store a couple days ago. So I'm going to give this just a little mix to kind of get things in there and going along. Just like such. And like I said, if it's frozen, you don't even have to mix this. You can literally just put it all in the crock pot and go. You don't have to do any of that. Oh, got a chunk of cream cheese that's just not wanting to cooperate. That's the beauty of cooking. You can use your hands. Of course, my hands are clean, blah, blah, blah. They've been washed. I don't know why people say that on video. I never will understand that. And sorry for the beard shot. I had to rinse the cream cheese off my hands. Most of the time when you cook things, as long as it gets above 190 degrees, you're going to kill any bacteria you have anyhow. But best way to also keep your hands clean is keep your dishes up. Your dish soap is amazing for that. So we've put our 3 ingredients in there, our Italian seasoning, our cream of chicken, our cream cheese. Now we're just going to set these boneless chicken breasts in here, like such. I am going to throw my vegetables on top of that. And then we're going to put the lid on it. And we're going to turn it on low. All right? So every crockpot usually has 3 settings: low, high, and warm. You're gonna put it on low. All right. So let's talk about what's gonna happen next. As soon as I can get you turned to face me, there we are. Here, I'll tell you what. Let's move you up here. There we go. Got a bent leg on my tripod. That's not cool. All right, so what are we doing next? All right, we're done. That is literally everything we have to do to this meal. We are going to cook this on low for about 8 hours. 6 hours minimum if your chicken's thawed, your cream cheese is good to go. It's about 6 hours. My chicken is not completely thawed. My cream cheese is cold, but that's okay. So I'm going to run about 8 hours. All right, or until the chicken starts to fall apart, which will take about 8 hours. And then it will be done, and we can move on for that. What we're going to do is we're going to actually plate this over some rice, and then you can add another vegetable to it. Like we'll probably have corn on the side, or maybe a salad. We'll see. But for right now, we're just going to let that cook for cook for 8 hours, and then when I come back, we'll give it a shot and see how it tastes. And if you're wondering what I'm going to do with this other remaining third of vegetable broth, I'm actually going to use it to cook my rice with. So when cooking rice, of course, most people, even us, usually use water, right, to boil it in. So which is what the directions tell you to do. But in the instances where I use broth for things, like if I use a chicken broth or a beef broth or anything that involves rice and a main meal with broth, I usually cook the rice in the broth. What it does is that, because rice, when it cooks, it's soaking up the water, right? It's soaking up whatever liquid it's in to cook and soften. So by using a broth instead, which we have everything but beef broth that we make, I can use that instead of the water, and that rice, as it cooks and absorbs, it will take on the flavor of whatever broth you have, adding a lot more flavor and richness to your meal and or the rice. I mean, the rice, I know when we use the chicken broth on rice, the rice in and of itself could be a meal. You almost don't need anything else because it has so much flavor. And we make our own chicken broth, we make our own chicken broth, but we also make our own veggie broth. So, all the veggies we use, so the jalapenos, the radishes, the green peppers, the onions, the red peppers, anything, poblanos, whatever, any vegetable we use is in here. We get to choose what's in our vegetable stock. And if you've ever had vegetable stock and went, "Oh, Brian, it's kind of eh." If it's store-bought, you're right, it's kind of eh. But when you make it yourself and get to choose what's in it, man, it takes on a whole new life of its own, and it is amazing. All right, so we're going to let this cook, and I will be back in 1 millisecond for you, and what will essentially be 8.5 hours for me. So that way I can go get some yard work done. It's a beautiful day outside. I'm going to play in the flower beds a little bit, open up the shed, do some organizing. I may even do a little woodworking. But we'll see how it goes. All right, I'll tell you about my adventures when I come back in just 1 second. All right, see you in a few. Bye. Hey guys, I've let this cook now for about 8 hours. We started a little after 9 this morning putting it together, probably cooking about 9:30. It is now 6, so about 8.5 hours. Some things I did while it was cooking. First I went out and I worked in the yard, cleaned up some flower beds, planted a couple things, hung out on the porch, talked to the neighbors, went and had lunch with my brother, which was awesome, and then came back home, did some work with the cars, talked to Chris for a while, hung out with Abby for a little bit, and now we're here. I've made some brown and white rice. I'm putting it over rice. You could put this over mashed potatoes. There's several things you can do. Let me take the lid off the crock pot real quick, and I'll give you a peek, because I want to talk about the end result here. Right here is our end result. It is shredded. Now, that being shown, you don't have to shred it. I just let it cook till it fell apart. You can let this cook until it's just till the chicken is, the breasts are done, and you can serve them whole. You can take the breast out once they're cooked, and you can slice them up into slices. It's kind of versatile like that. About an hour before it was done, about an hour before I came back to see you, even though it's only literally been a millisecond for you, I did kick the lid to the side on the crock pot. That way, it gave it time for all those juices to thicken up. You know, so it has like a gravy. So if you do it, do eat it. do it. If you do it whole, you do your chicken whole or in slices, you can actually use that sauce as a gravy if you let it thicken up. And then you can put it over rice, you can put it over potatoes. If you eat the chicken whole or in slices, you don't have to do any of that. You can have it on the side. We're also pairing this with cauliflower. You could do any veggie. I mean, you could do anything with it. But we prefer veggie. Sometimes it's corn, sometimes it's broccoli, sometimes it's, whatever vegetable we have on hand in the freezer. So, anyhow, let me get this plated up real quick. And we'll talk about how it tastes. I know it tastes good because we've eaten this a lot over the last, years. So, at least 2. So, all you have to do, literally, I got brown and white rice here, both. I like brown rice. The rest of the fam doesn't care so much for it. Yeah, so I got jasmine rice for them. We quit eating straight white rice unless it's long cook, like a long grain, real rice, not the quick cook rice. A while back. Jasmine rice is just a little healthier for you. It has a better flavor to it as far as rice goes. And then we're just simply going to take this, spread it on top, and then once my vegetables are out of the microwave, because that's what we do, I'll put those on the side, but we're not here to talk about cauliflower. We're here to talk about this wonderful Italian chicken. There's what we look like with the rice and the chicken and the sauce, and you can see the bits of carrot in there, and there's some onion in there and some celery. I know if we had smell-o-vision, you would be super hungry right now. I guarantee it. Because this stuff smells amazing. And Chris could testify to it. She's sitting right here. Yeah. And so let's see where we're at. Let's give it a taste because, looks fantastic. I did not put it, before I try it, I did not put any salt or pepper in it. You can add salt and pepper to it. This is one of those dishes where I don't put it in it. You can salt and pepper to taste for your own flavor. But you do what works for you and your family. That's just what works for me and my family. And you can sprinkle jalapenos on this, which would be really good. But anyhow, enough talking. Let's try it. It's good. Yeah, that's good. You can taste the vegetable broth I used versus chicken broth. The extra vegetables I put in there added a lot of flavor. The Italian seasoning pack, you can taste it. The chicken is so tender, and that chicken, I did not shred that chicken. It fell apart in the crock pot. So the minute I stirred it, it just said, "Ugh, I'm done." Yeah, that's good. I recommend it. Well, of course I recommend it. We've been eating it for a long time. So I know I like it, but I wanted to let you know that I like it. Try the recipe. Let me know what you think, because I really want to know. There goes cauliflower. Heat it up, let it sit for a minute. But yeah, try this. I highly recommend it. It's really easy. Like I said in the beginning, it takes forever to make, but really it just takes forever to cook. It takes about 10 minutes worth of prep time because you're not cutting up any chicken. You're not, if you don't put the vegetables in it, you're not cutting up any vegetables. You're literally putting 4 items in, 5 items if you include the veggie, the broth. Yeah, you're putting 5 items in a crock pot, turning it on low, and going to work or going to play. And then when you get back home, bam, dinner's already done. You don't even have to fuss with it. That is the best weeknight meal. So, if you try it, let me know. Let me know if you like it. You know, say, Brian, this was amazing. Let me know if it sucks. You know, like, dude, I will never eat this again. I don't know what you were talking about. You're crazy. Although I don't think that's going to be what you think. Either way, let me know. Let me know down in the comments below. Let me know on Facebook. You can find me. I'm still under Brian's Aquatics on Facebook. On Instagram, I'm under Mr. Smith's Kitchen, just like I am here on the YouTube channel. And for now, Facebook I'll change down the road. That's a lot bigger process. I got a lot of friends, and I'll have to let them all know. But anyhow, try this. I'm going to go eat with Chris, Abby, and Sarah, and get the cauliflower out of the microwave and see how it goes. All right, tomorrow, peanut butter chocolate chip cookies. God, yeah, I know. I say no more. I won't say no more because I know you want to go make this and eat. All right, I love you. Tell somebody else you love them. It'll make their day a whole lot better, I promise. All right, talk to you later. Have a great day.